Is this area an actual prime location, a thin area where things from another realm are almost touching the fabric of our own? Now just imagine how that would look on a dark night. Quite terrifying, I would think. Hello everybody, back at Danes Dyke again, and I came today with nothing on my mind other than going for a nice leisurely walk with the dog. Or should we say the bobster? There he is. However, when I drove in, something caught my attention, and as everyone knows, I take cameras everywhere with me, and I immediately thought that we would start talking about things. Let's have a look, no cars coming. And I immediately thought we should start talking about things of a ghostly nature, because clearly someone wanted to create a spooky atmosphere either last night or over the last few nights. Because as I drove up here, I glanced to my left and my eyes met with this. Imagine how that would look on a dark night. Quite frightening, I would think. Regardless of what a person thinks about the existence of spirits or ghosts, many people from all sections of society and all parts of the world talk about seeing ghostly apparitions. So I think we've got to attach some kind of truth to it. Or whether these unearthly beings, whatever they are somehow connected to the UFOs and the cryptid phenomena, I don't know. They may all be employing the same methods and exotic science to appear within our sphere of existence. And to them it may not even be science, it might just be a natural ability, a natural part of the order of where they originate from. But there's certainly no shortage of spirit activity around Danes Dyke. We've got disjointed voices, unexplained light phenomena that seems to manifest and at times follow people through the trees. There's a report of a group of teenagers in the other side of Danes Dyke. That's the part at the other side of the main road. And there's a report that these teenagers were actually chased out of the dike by a sphere of light. I need to get more information on that before I start telling it in more detail, but nevertheless, it's fascinating. Me and Bobby will just go up here. This is a location, I don't know whether it's connected to spirit activity or what you would call it, but where we're walking to now is a place where I've heard, come on dog, but where we're walking to now is a place that I've heard strange wing beats, very heavy beats of a bird's wing overhead. Now some people might say, yeah, probably a flock of swans moving over, because you can hear the wings beating when they're quite low. But these were very heavy. It's the same place where we've heard this buzzing sound, myself and my granddaughter. Is that connected to spirit? Perhaps not. But this little bit of woodland does have its own air of mystery. And I just wanted to come here and just contemplate for a moment. That breeze is absolutely beautiful. And for once I'm not bothered if it's interfering with audio. I have brought microphones, but I've not used them today. How good is that? Okay, I want to ask the question while we're talking about ghosts and hauntings and frightening things. Why do places like this take on a different persona at night? Is it something primal that's built into our DNA from ancient times when we had to be afraid of the things that exist in the night time? Or is it something else? Do we actually sense these hidden dangers around us all of the time, and the night time just heightens them. It's hard to say, isn't it? Something tells me that the flight or fight mode that's inbuilt within us all is brought out as darkness folds in, and we can't help it. No matter what we think, we're looking into dark places and looking into the distance, almost suspecting that something lurks there, something dark and sinister is waiting, and invariably there's nothing waiting. But the fact that it frightens us, the fact that we do have these thoughts, must mean that either something is there, something that's just on the edge of our perception, or that we're pulling hard on ancient remnants of our own DNA, mankind's DNA, when he had to fight for survival, literally fight for survival with terrifying animals, and we were on the food chain. Which is it? I don't know. But I know that when people come around these locations, they do claim to see strange spheres of light, which they then in turn change to being ghosts. Are they really ghosts? Is a sphere of light a ghost? I suppose if all we've been brought up on whilst listening to our parents talking and our friends, our ghost stories and things of that nature, then something unusual like a sphere of white light, travelling through the trees, is a ghost. But I think it's a massive jump to try and turn a sphere of light seen moving through the trees into the spirit of a white lady, because the descriptions from Victorian times talk of someone with a flowing white dress, almost in Victorian dress. Strange, isn't it, that nobody's seeing these beings or these ghostly apparitions with rucksacks on walking through Danes Dyke, or dog walkers, although why the ghost of a dog would be there, I don't know. So we're quite near the main road now, and you could probably hear the traffic passing literally 50 to 60 yards away. So why would this be the focal point of paranormal occurrences? It seems to be. And if we briefly run through these, because I want this talk today, what we're doing for Truth Proof, to be primarily about ghostly occurrences and strange guttural voices. But let's not forget we've got the road just up there. We may even see a vehicle pass in the light of the camera. There's a vehicle there just entering Danes Dyke, and we've got the reports of these strange ungodly creatures that have been seen close to the entrance. One by a guy in an invalid scooter, one by a man who was walking at the other side of the dyke, who came and stood near the bus stop and claimed that this animal came up through the grass up there and put its head between an old gatepost, and in the words of this man, he said its head looked half dog, half human. How does that work? Then we've got another one from a man travelling home on nights. All stories that I've covered in greater detail in the past, but no less intriguing today when we talk about hauntings. So whilst we're here and we're just making our way up this pretty steep embankment, I couldn't have done this earlier in the year when I damaged my back, but things seem to be okay now, so me and the Bobster are out. So whilst we're moving up here, I want to just jump to an account of a lady, her brother, and the lady's young son, who would have been about 9 years old, and they'd come for a holiday. They were staying at a campsite, probably about 500 yards away, and they'd come for a walk round Danes Dyke. Her older brother, the lady, and her 9-year-old son. I think Mum was with them as well, but she'd not come for a walk. And whilst they're walking along this path, back to the main road and back up to their campsite, which would be up that way. She's watching her brother and son, and they're just milling about, looking in the trees and the long grass. And she's just sudden, let's imagine that they're, I don't know, 30, 40 feet away. And she claims that on her shoulder, right on her shoulder and into her ear, something growled. Not feet away from her, inches from her ear. It growled and made the most unearthly, bone-chilling sound. But you know what? A brother and a young son playing heard nothing. So there's the bus stop, and there's the gate post where this man claimed that this animal with a half human, half dog head came and looked at him. And you don't want to get run over because, as you can see, it's summer season, it's busy. But across the road there's another bus stop, and that is where, probably 10 years ago, the man travelling home on the night shift claimed that some animal was crouched at the side of the road. It's also in close proximity to where the guy in the invalid scooter claimed he had his experience. So we've got three quite frightening and traumatic experiences just in this small concentrated location. Okay, let's move on. What resides in this area? Is it in an area that's so thin, the fabric of the world, if that's not too much of a leap to say? Is this area an actual prime location, a thin area where things from another realm are almost touching the fabric of our own? Because what could growl on a person's shoulder so close to their ear and not reveal its presence? I don't know of anything that could do that. Yet this lady claims it did. I've had other reports from dog walkers who claim that they've heard unearthly growls. And it just makes no sense at all. No more sense than a man waiting at the bus stop seeing an animal come through between the gate posts and describe its face as looking half human, half dog. You don't have to choose to believe any of what I'm talking about today. But just remember that all of these witnesses are unconnected to one another. All of these people could be called upon, if I needed to back up my words. And if one person's telling the truth, then we're dealing with something highly, highly unusual. And just because, and I've said this many times, just because you've not seen it, just because you've not experienced it, does not mean it's not happening for someone else. And, you know, the truth of what's happening within the field of the paranormal is not going to be discovered under laboratory conditions or by conducting any special tests in a controlled environment. It will be here. The truth will be discovered in places like this. The true reality of where these things are occurring. And remember that the phenomena presents on its terms. It doesn't present to order. The only time that we see it is when it wants to be seen. So guys, for truth proof, I will leave it there. If you're enjoying what we're talking about, please press the like and subscribe. We'll catch you next time. Bye bye.
Oh, wow. Saw it twice, so I was like, oh my god.
That was just weird.
I always used to see a light coming up,
Yeah.
like a headlight, but there was nobody there.
Oh, it's just disappeared.